Subscribe for daily boxing videos, guys. Question of the day. Is Joseph Parker ready for the occasion? Is he ready for the occasion that he's about to get himself into on March 31st? Fighting Anthony Joshua to become a unified champion at heavyweight, to become the #1 heavyweight in the division. Because if he beats Anthony Joshua, he will be perceived as the #1 heavyweight, 100%. The hell with Deontay Wilder. He ain't gonna be considered the #1 heavyweight. The winner of this fight will be considered the #1 heavyweight, not Deontay Wilder. So that's the question. Is he ready for this moment? Let me know in the comment section below of this video. I really appreciate it, guys. Now, this same question was asked to Errol Spence Jr. If you guys remember, a year ago, when Errol Spence Jr. was set to face Kell Brook, Errol Spence had been fighting, guys like Chris Algieri, Leonard Bundu. He was fighting in the United States a lot. And when he fought Kell Brook, a lot of people, the majority of boxing fans were saying this was clearly the first time that Errol Spence Jr. actually fought somebody who was a legit contender, right? He was a champion. So the question was asked, and remember, the fight happened in Burnmill Lane, Sheffield, right? In Burnmill Lane, right? In the stadium. So that was like the big question. There were a lot of boxing fans were saying, is he ready? Is Errol Spence Jr. ready for the occasion? This is the first time he's fighting a guy who's the real deal in his division. A. B. He's fighting the guy in front of 30,000 people in his backyard. Literally, and Kell Brook was born in Sheffield, England. He's literally fighting him in his backyard. And if you remember, everybody was booing him when he was going down the runway to get inside the ring, right? So that was the question. But look at what happened. Errol Spence answered all his critics, and he was ready for the occasion. It was a very tough fight for him. But if you look at that fight, you never saw Errol Spence back down. Errol Spence mentally was ready for that fight. All right? That's the key word, mentally. I think when it comes to boxing, they always say 80% mental, right? And then 20% skill. And I think that's totally true, because how many times have you seen a fighter who's not as skilled as his opponent end up beating his opponent because he has more heart than his opponent, or he's more determined than his opponent who's more skilled than him? You know what I'm saying? This happens many times in boxing. Just because a guy doesn't have the skill set, or he isn't as skilled as his opponent, doesn't mean he can't beat his opponent, because a lot of times the guy who's more skillful than him doesn't have the heart he has. But the guy who's less skillful, he has the heart. You get what I'm saying? When it came to Errol Spence Jr. and Kell Brook, I thought Kell Brook was more sharper than Errol Spence Jr. I thought he was snapping his head back. But Errol Spence Jr. was so determined, right? In his mind, he was telling himself he's not gonna lose this fight. He's gonna go through hell. And if you look at that fight, he was taking, he was getting hit cleanly, but he never stopped marching forward. And eventually he broke down Kell Brook, right? If he was any other fighter who didn't have the heart, that fight showed me that Errol Spence had a heartbeat determination. Because if he was any other fighter, he probably would have wilted. He would have bowed down, because Errol Spence was getting hit cleanly with shots. But he probably would have wilted and bowed down to Kell Brook and just, wave the white flag and let Kell Brook beat him and outbox him. But he didn't. He kept marching forward. He kept persevering, because he was a determined man who wanted to be the IBF champion of the world. And he took a beating in order to become a champion, right? So Errol Spence answered that he had the heart of a champion. So that's the question we're asking Joseph Parker. He's never fought in an occasion this big, right? He's never fought like this with 80,000 people. But that doesn't mean it's going to be overwhelming for him. If Joseph Parker goes in here with the same mindset that Errol Spence had, or than any fighter, because Joseph Parker is not the only fighter who's been in this situation. Many fighters have been in this situation where you're fighting in a guy's backyard and everyone's booing you. But it's really... So let's say if Errol Spence, if Joseph Parker comes into this fight with the skill set, but not the heart or the determination or the mindset, he's going to lose this fight, because he's going to wilt. in the occasion, or he's going to, and he's gonna just bow down to someone like Anthony Joshua. But if he comes in here with the mindset that, a determined mindset, that he knows he could beat Anthony Joshua, then this is probably going to be a very competitive fight. It's probably going to be a very competitive fight. Vladimir Klitschko, when Vladimir Klitschko was beating it, because I thought Vladimir Klitschko was beating Anthony Joshua. Vladimir Klitschko had experience. Him being in front of 80,000 people was not going to faze him because he's had 20 years experience. So when if you notice, Vladimir Klitschko didn't fight like he was afraid against Anthony Joshua. He didn't fight like he was afraid against, you know, the 80,000 people screaming at, or 90,000 people screaming at him, wanting their man AJ to win. He wasn't afraid because he had experience, right? He was in there with guys. He fought Alexander Povetkin in Russia. He fought in America several times. So he had experience fighting in other fighters' territories, getting booed. So that wasn't going to faze him. So I knew when they were going to fight, I knew that's not going to faze. I remember thinking that's not going to faze Vladimir Klitschko. I think I made a video saying that it's not going to faze him because he has so much experience. But when it comes to Joseph Parker obviously is like 20 years younger than Vladimir Klitschko was. He doesn't have the experience. He has about 40 fights less. So this is the first time he's going to have to go through that. But like I said, look at AJ. AJ had less experience. AJ had less experience than Joseph Parker when he fought Vladimir Klitschko. Right? He had never been in an arena with 90,000 people. And he got dropped. He got put on his ass against Vladimir Klitschko in front of 90,000 people. That right there is a lot of pressure, and it's very embarrassing. Imagine fighting and getting dropped in front of 90,000 boxing fans who are all rooting for you. That must be very embarrassing, and that must be a lot of pressure, right? But Anthony Joshua was able to persevere through that, right? So that tells me that AJ has the mindset of a fighter who has heart and who is determined, right? He's not going to mentally break down when he's in a situation. So that tells me that if AJ were to fight anywhere in the U.S., in Germany, I don't think he will mentally break down because he's able to fight in front of such massive crowds, right? Under all this pressure, having very little experience. So I guess that's the question. We're gonna find that out March 31st because we don't know. I can't sit here and say he has the ability to do this because I haven't seen it. I know Errol Spence has the ability to not fold under pressure. I know Anthony Joshua has the ability to not fold under pressure, but I don't know if Joseph Parker has. So that's why I'm interested. Let's see what happens. Does he fold? Does he not? Let me know what you guys think of. Do you think he folds under the occasion or not? If you watched the video from start to finish, as always, I appreciate it. And this is McGregor Mouth. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. Subscribe for daily boxing videos.